Hey, welcome to TS Paranormal Productions. I am here with Tonya from Old Hospital on College Hill.
Hello, everyone.
You guys are kind of a new venue compared to most.
Probably. We didn't open until 21. We bought it in 20. So we're going into our fifth year, kind of. So, yeah, we're still kind of considered the new kids on the block in the paranormal world, I think.
Yeah, I think about in 4 years, you guys have gotten your name out pretty good.
We've tried. We've tried really hard.
I forget what show it was a few years ago that went on there. That's what caught my eye. And I'm like, oh, that place kind of looks creepy. I want to go there. So
I'm so glad that it caught your eye. It was probably Destination Fear.
most likely.
On the Travel Channel. It could have been
Yeah.
them. They were the ones who gave us, they're Project Fear now, but they gave us our launch. They aired a show. We were their season 2 finale in December of 2020. And then we opened up the doors to the old hospital in February of 21. So it kind of I couldn't have asked for a better opening, honestly. It kind of helped us, but was not prepared for, even though they warned me, I don't think I was quite prepared for all of the phone calls and the visitors and stuff, but I loved it, welcomed it with open arms, so much so that I ended up quitting my full-time job to run the hospital full-time. So.
Oh, nice. It was kind of weird because I've had a couple owners on already because I wanted my podcast. I just didn't want the groups. Like, we got to respect the people, that buy these places so we could go do it. And it kind of amazed me. What was the reason behind you buying the hospital, you and Charlie?
Well, I get asked that quite a lot. And honestly, if I'm being truthful with you, I think it was fate. I was actually born in that hospital, as you probably already know. So I'm familiar with that hospital and have been for all of my life. Now, if you'd have told me 10 years ago I was probably going to be the owner of it, I would probably laughed at you then. But it always kind of, if this makes any sense at all, I've always kind of been drawn to the hospital as well as the nurses' college that sits beside of it. But just I happened to be in the right place at the right time when I found out that it was coming up for sale. And I just had it in my heart to at least try, because I know a lot of people in our area will buy a property and they will just let it either rot and just use it as a tax write-off, or they will purchase it and just either tear it down for a parking lot, or, just not to do anything with it. And it's too beautiful of a building, both of them, honestly, and too much history there to just see let go. And I wanted to be able not only preserve my history, but to preserve the city of Williamson and a lot of our area's history as well. So I kind of threw my name in the hat. There were several people bidding on it. And lo and behold, I just said a little prayer and I was like, God, this is meant to be. I guess it'll happen. And I got a phone call a couple of days later saying, you're the highest bidder. So yay. I was nervous and I was excited and I'm like, what do I do now? So, but I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And I was very thankful because it's really opened up a lot of doors for me. The hospital is a special building for me. Like I said, I was born there. And then I also lost 2 of my grandparents who I never met in that building as well. So to be able to go back into the building where your life started, it's a pretty amazing feeling, and knowing that you have loved ones that have been through there as well. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So my mom thought I was crazy for doing it, but I really felt like it was something that I needed to do.
Yeah, hospitals you talk about like paranormal field, like you said, is where life starts for a lot of people, is where life ends for a lot of people too.
Right.
And also, a lot of people get saved there too. So it's all in between. So hospitals are always intriguing when you look at the whole factor of it. Now, we didn't get to drive around Williamson. We were there in June. The person was a coal mine town.
Yes, pretty much for the most part. Most of West Virginia, not all of it, but especially on our end of West Virginia, are coal mining towns. That was our biggest. That and railroad were probably our 2 biggest industries at the time. To have a hospital built of that nature. And you're talking about the hospital opened in the 20s. So 1928, that was a massive hospital back in its day. And the two doctors, that led that charge to build that, because the first one originally burnt down, it was a huge undertaking, and they ended up spending, I think it was like 175,000 building that hospital in the 20s, which I think, if I'm not good at math, but that would be like 3 million today, and it played an important part because coal mines was what kind of led our area. And a lot of coal miners went through that hospital, treated there, amputated, they lost body parts. They walked through those halls, just like the railroaders did, and other patients as well. So it was a big industry in our area. Sadly, we have a few mines still open, but not anything like we did back in those days.
I was just interested because we're talking to Charlie, and I'm like, paranormal group, the dream is to own a paranormal building. I mean, that's what we want to do. I'm like, why in a coal mining town? But then, he said he was born there too.
Yes, so he was.
You guys have a history, and I think it's really unbelievable because you bought that, I guess, with your heart and trying to keep Williamson, I guess, kind of on the map,
Right. Just the building itself to me, and my original goal, honestly, I was just going to have it as a part-time job and just do tours and stuff. And I was really focused more on the history of it, because the history behind the hospital is a really cool story. I mean, there's not very many 97-year-old hospitals still around. And if they are, they're not in as good a shape as the one we have. My love for history, and Charlie's love for history as well, the paranormal we knew about, but I'm not going to say that was our primary focus at the time, until Destination Fear kind of entered our lives, and that opened the gates for that. But preserving history is a big thing for us. And in my opinion, and I know a lot of paranormal investigators, they may disagree with me, but I think you have to understand the place that you're at and the history of where you're at to understand what spirits are there, who's still there, and those kind of things. So to me, they kind of go hand in hand, and that was really important for us.
I mean, if you're a paranormal investigator and you're not a semi-history buff, I don't think you're a paranormal investigator. I mean, that's my opinion. Everybody I've talked to that does paranormal field loves history. So yeah.
Most of we talk to do. There's a few that they don't really care much about the history of it. They just love to come in there and kind of go into it blind. They don't want to know anything about it, and I totally respect that too. We kind of cater to the teams, but to me, it's very fascinating because, like you were saying earlier, with hospitals, people were born there, people passed away there, people were saved there. There's so much history trapped in those walls that you don't know who's there, how many people went through those doors, what you're looking for. And I think knowing some of the history of, where the people came from, who were the doctors that were there, the nurses, and the age, what it went through, and all those, from the Great Depression to the diseases that hit the area. And we get stories all the time from people that tell us a little bit about, when scarlet fever hit the area, this is what happened and how many people passed away. And that's very fascinating because then you kind of key it up to the paranormal, world, and then the spirits that you come in contact with. And it really helps me understand who's in there a little bit better.
So I'm the one, like when we went down there, my group, I didn't do the walkthrough with Charlie. Everybody else did. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be influenced, the first time. But 99.9% of the time when I go into a place, I go back. Now, after my first time, I get some names, I get some answers. Then I dig into the history. Then I come back. So I always tell owners, you're getting a 2-for-1 with me. I mean, I go in there, I get something, I'm coming back. So
we want you to come back. We want everybody to come back. Yeah. That was, one of our main goals. Charlie and I both, we love meeting people, and we love history, and we love sharing the story of the old hospital. And, if nothing else, we just wanted our paranormal teams to feel like it was home away from home. And regardless of how much evidence you caught or didn't catch, to feel like you'd want to come back and love the hospital as much as we do and investigate it more. So that was our number one goal from the beginning, is just to share the history and the love that we have for it, and hope people would want to come back and feel the same, basically.
It's cool. You guys are keeping it real. I mean, what are you guys' plans restoration wise?
Well, we want to keep it as true to history as possible. So really not much restoration other than keeping the roof on it and making sure no further damage, appears to it or happens to it. The only tweaking we may do to it, and if you remember when you first walked in the lobby area, and Charlie probably told you, we would love to turn that into like a permanent gift shop / museum. Because we have a lot of people that come in looking for souvenirs, or they want to see some artifacts from the 20s, or just old medical equipment or something like that, and we have that, but we have nowhere to safely display it right now. So we're hoping, and every bit of money that we get goes back into the hospital some way. And then, of course, we've got the Nurses College, that beautiful building that sits right beside of it. So much history there, but it's missing a roof. So I can't let anybody in it until we at least put a roof over it to make it a little bit more secure. So long-term goals, gift shop and museum in that lobby area, and just maintain it, clean it up a little bit more, and then focus on the Nurses College. We kind of got distracted a couple of years ago by the only hotel we had in our small city closed. So we ended up fixing up Dr. Conley's house, and then we purchased, we wasn't looking to, but the house that's almost right beside of the hospital, the gentleman that owned it came up to us and said, "Hey, I don't want this anymore. Would you guys be interested in buying it?" And of course, I didn't want to go in debt anymore, that I already was. But it was one of those things like, how can you not? It's right there. And, we felt really bad for our paranormal teams because the closest hotel to us is a good 30 miles away, some even longer. So depending on what you like to stay in. So, because we border the state of Kentucky, and we don't have any, we have some Airbnbs and things like that. So it was really making us sad to see our paranormal teams leave at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and having to drive, 40 minutes or so to a hotel, and then, just basically get to stay there for 3 hours before they had to leave. So we decided we took a chance and have those two houses, because you could literally walk down the steps and be at Dr. Conley's or the cottage. And, even if you just want to nap for, 4 or 5 hours and take you a quick shower before you hit the road, you won't have to drive and not be sleepy or just drained, because the hospital can drain you. It can wear you out. So, for the safety of the paranormal teams, we threw that in. So that kind of put a wrench in what we focused on, the Nurses College, putting a roof on it. But I think it was worth it. And I think it's helped some of our teams, get some rest and be able to enjoy it.
I mean, you're seeing that a little bit more. I mean, Adam from Manna Seminary ended up buying a house because hotel prices just went through the roof.
Yeah.
So he ended up buying a house, turned to like Airbnb. So
right.
For his guests, I mean, you can rent it out. I guess I've seen pictures of it. It looks beautiful.
It looks beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you guys are doing it right. Those houses right there. So
just kind of made sense for us because Dr. Conley, he was one of the original co-founders of the hospital. And we thought, well, how neat would it be to be able to stay in one of the original co-founders' home? And then what we were kind of seeing after we started renting, the houses had paranormal activity. So we're very interested in getting more research on that. Paranormal Quest just did an investigation strictly on Dr. Conley's house alone. And that they just released that on YouTube. And I watched it the other day. And it was pretty, wild just to think, it's because it's so close to the hospital, what's causing it to be, there. So both homes has had paranormal activity. So it's very intriguing to us. And we're trying to get to the bottom of it as to why, that little hill up there would have so much paranormal activity. Is it strictly related to the hospital, or is there something more?
talk about your place a little bit. Nursing college. That building looks awesome, even though it's a little dismantled or whatever. But it does look cool. Like we didn't know that was there till we pulled up. And I'm like, what if this is part of it? And you're looking inside, like, yeah, you can't go in there. But when Charlie said that's your plan is to be able to get that up and running,
Yes,
to be part of it. It's kind of cool. So then you can get from the hospital to the nursing college, can't you? From the basement?
well, they have it. You could at one time. There used to be an underground tunnel that connected it, but when I guess they transformed the hospital into a clinic, they kind of cemented up. So there's cinder blocks and stuff like that. So you can't now. You can go out the back door and go outside, but there's no the tunnel's not there anymore, which is really sad because I would have loved that.
Yeah, that's sweet.
When the hospital stopped being a hospital, they converted it into a clinic. And it looked like before they stopped, they were in the process of changing all of that. If you remember in the basement, that back area used to be where the morgue was and the kitchen and all the cafeteria and all that stuff. But we're not sure. We don't have the floor plan, so we're not sure what they were going to do with it. But they just, blocked it all up, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you guys have any plans? I mean, this is just me being a paranormal investigator of making the morgue type of a morgue again.
We would love to. I know you probably saw the body cooler that was on the first floor. That was actually shoved over into the nurses' college. That was in the basement. It was where the morgue was. But when they were working on it as a clinic, they pushed everything over into the nurses' college. So Charlie and a couple of guys in his truck pulled that big sucker out. I mean, it's huge, and got it, but couldn't get it back to the basement because I'm guessing maybe the tunnels were still there. I don't know how they got it over there. But we've got it on the first floor right now. We're trying to figure out how in the world to get it to the basement because it's too big to put on that elevator and it's too heavy and too big to carry down those steps. So the only other way we have to be able to do it is to take it apart, dismantle it, and put it back together again, which is an option. But I would absolutely love to put it back the way that it was back in its time.
Yeah, when we were there, it was kind of not a closet, but just shoved in a room. You really couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's probably one of the funniest parts of Project Fear is when Dakota got stuck in there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And he dropped his radio.
I don't know. We got to spend more time with them when they came back as Project Fear. So he was telling us about it, and of course we hadn't seen the episode yet, but Chelsea she had to one up him because he's always doing stuff to her, so it was only fair. But he was brave enough to get into that body cooler, and you got to remember that body cooler held a lot. It probably at one time it could probably hold up to 4 bodies. So to go in there alone and actually shut the door. Now I've had people lay in it with the door open, but they shut the door on him, so he couldn't get it open. And I don't know if you tried to lift it or open it. Those are heavy doors. So I almost had a panic attack watching him because, that I was so nervous for him because everybody was gone. He dropped the walkie-talkie. And I was like, man, he's stuck there for a while. Chelsea ain't going to come get him out.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because we weren't in there, but I mean, it was.
Oh, I would probably, after a few minutes, I'd probably be freaking out because, I'm not claustrophobic, but I think I would start to be because I think your brain starts to play tricks with you. And, and then if you're picking up any paranormal activity at all on top of it, that's like a double whammy. So, yeah, my heart went out to him.
Yeah, no, that was a good episode. I love that episode.
It was. They did a great job. They, we were really honored when we knew that that their show had gotten canceled, unfortunately. And they had called us. I think it was Alex that called us, and they let us know. And they said, we're going to continue doing what we do because we love what we do, and we love our fans and we love our fan base, and we want to. But we're going to continue it on YouTube. And I said, I think that's great. And they said, well, we love the hospital so much. We would like to come back there and start as Project Fear. So I think they went to Sweet Springs first, and then we were their second episode. But what an honor it was for them to contact us again, because they gave us our launch. So we're very grateful for Dakota and Chelsea and Alex and all of them because, they're great. And I love that they're just who they are. They don't try to fake anything. They don't put on. They're just great people. Sorry, we'll have to get a drink of water.
No, that's fine. Besides Project Fear, Destination Fear, have you had any other groups come through, like TV show wise?
Well, we've had, if people are familiar with Nick Groff, Nick Groff's been up there twice. First time he came a couple of years ago with his show Death Walker.
Yeah.
And he was filming that. That was in a very emotional episode for me because he came in contact with my grandmother. So that was pretty emotional. It was a great episode for me. I don't know if anybody else liked it, and then he surprised us by joining, I think they're called a Twins Haunting. And he came back and did a really awesome investigation. I can't wait for that one to come out. They had some crazy stuff happen to them, both of them, the twins. And I think he brought his wife with him this time, Tessa. And they're awesome. So we've had the fortune of meeting them. And we got one coming out. I don't really know how much I can and can't say. I think it's going to be in October, but I'm not sure. But it's going to be streamed on a platform called Stream Beacon TV that has Dave Schroeder and Shane Pittman and Cindy, if you remember them from the Holzer Files. And they were there not too long ago. So I'm letting you guys know. I know Shane and them will probably kill me. Josh will probably kill me, but the Old Hospital will be one of the shows. And I think it's called Paranormal Mysteries is what they're calling it. But it's Bacon TV.
Yeah, I like watching Cindy work. I mean, she does a good job.
Oh, this one will blow you away. I probably look like a big goofball because, they talk to you and stuff. And what they found, I really honestly had to really sit and think about it. And my mouth was kind of like the whole time they were talking. So they probably are thinking, this chick don't know what she's doing, So it was amazing to watch all three of them work. And I didn't get to, I wasn't there for the whole investigation, of course. And I actually didn't even get to meet Cindy until after their investigation. We did a Zoom call like we're doing. And they kind of discussed their findings with me and things like that. So it was, it's pretty amazing. I can't wait for you guys to watch it, but I think it's only on Stream Beacon TV.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
So let's talk about hauntings here. It's a big thing in the paranormal field. I mean, for me, you guys started, when I was down there in June, it felt like something was there. During a walkthrough, my whole group was like, because I did a solo after that, through the whole place. And they're like, oh, you're going to be like scared. And I felt stuff there, but never really got scared. Or,
guys. Sorry, puppy seeing somebody walking.
Or freaked out at all. Do you guys see an uptick in like paranormal because you have more people coming in now than you have asking questions? You think the spirits are kind of get comfortable or?
I think they're definitely ramping it up, and it's funny that they are right before Halloween. So we're going to be open Halloween night. So I'm interested to see how that night goes. But to answer your question, yes, I think it has. The funny thing is, and I get asked this a lot. Everybody wants to know what. Sorry, Trippy, stop. My puppies are going crazy. Everybody wants to know like which floor is the most active, and it's hard to tell you that because there are certain times where, the basement is the most active, and then there are times where fourth floor is the most active. So here lately it's been the basement. Just to be honest, it's the basement. Yes.
Yeah, we had some good activity on the fourth floor. Nothing really freaky, but some good responses with stuff. Then I did a solo on the second floor, and there's a couple rooms on the second floor that felt pretty off to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The second floor, in my opinion, if you were to ask me which floor is probably the most consistent as far as getting activity, the second floor for sure. That's where I had my first experience, was the second floor.
Okay.
And that's where I was born. That's the floor I was born on.
So that's it right there. Now, it was that one room with all like people sprayed on walls or something. Like, I don't know what they put, but there's like dolls and like mannequins in there on the ground. And I didn't see that because I usually don't carry a flashlight. You know, I do carry a flashlight. I like the dark. So I went in there and I'm doing Facebook Live, and it actually felt like something grabbed my leg. Yeah. And I'm like, I knew there was stuff in there. I'm like, if this mannequin grabbed my leg, I'm going to be pretty upset here. Yeah, so I actually turned my flashlight on. It was still far away from me. So,
well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because do you remember the room with the CPR dummies in it, the one across the hall from it? Yeah. That's where I had my first experience. It was at 8:15 in the morning, and I was walking down that hallway, and I passed that door, and I was almost to where you were at where the CPR dummy room was or is. And as plain as day is a male's voice, and he just says, "Hey." And it was so, it startled me because I was the only one in the building. Charlie wasn't there. We'd had a team that stayed the night before, and they had 2 men in their group. So, my mind just reverted to, the team's still here. So I had my phone and I dropped it because it startled me. So, and it wasn't an angry voice. I think he just wanted my attention. And I started texting with the group, and I said, "Hey, are you guys still in the building?" And they said, "No, Tonya, we left about an hour ago, but we need to tell you that while we were packing up our stuff on the second floor," because that's where base camp is, if you remember. And, they said we kept picking up a male's voice. And I was like, "Yo, thank you. I wish you'd gave me the heads up before I came in here." So again, my mind starts thinking, "Oh man, maybe somebody broke in here." I was not thinking paranormal because it's 8:00 in the morning. And that was just me not being educated enough to know about the paranormal. And long story short, I searched the whole hospital, didn't find anyone. And then I go home and I start thinking, and I'm like, "Tonya, you're so silly. It's 8:00 in the morning, 8:15. Winter hospital is usually more active, probably, in my opinion. I would say morning time, because, you got doctors making their rounds, nurses doing shift changes. People are probably coming in to visit their loved ones. Just so much going on, ER going on, and I just totally blew it. I wish I could have a do-over. Now, I've heard him again. It sounds like the same voice on the 4th floor, but I can't say for sure that it was. But boy, if I had to do that all over again. But that second floor, there's something special about it. And if you remember, when Destination Fear first showed up, we had given them what history we knew of the hospital to help them with their show and their investigation. The one floor that I didn't have a lot on was the second floor. And that was the floor that was the most active for them all night long. And that's why I say it's probably the most consistent floor of all the floors in the hospital, because whether it's a door shutting or taps or a heavy feeling or something, there's something on that second floor that even I can't explain. But for me, it's a little emotional because the nursery is still there. To know that I was in that nursery at one point in time in the 70s, long time ago. It's, and maybe that's why it feels heavy for me, but I get a lot of activity on that floor.
That's the second floor. I think it's more consistent feeling than any other floor. We were on the 4th floor. It was down one of the halls. It has like the 2 steps that goes to the outside.
Yes.
I think. All right, so I was sitting on there doing Estes, and I never had this happen before. It sounded like 15 spirits trying to talk to me at the same time. Ooh. And it was like, I actually had to take my headphones off and today, like one at a time here. I can't take this. Yeah. It was pretty ridiculous. Felt like someone was walking around me the whole time, and my team was down at the end of the hallway asking questions. Yeah, 4th floor, 2nd floor, pretty active. We didn't get really anything in the basement, but again, I'll be back soon. So
yay! The fourth floor, is pretty interesting for me. I've not had anything really heavy happen to me there, just little things. But when I go back and I look at the history of the fourth floor, of all the floors that you have to explore, it is the smallest one, only because when they converted the hospital into a clinic, I believe it was around 88. We lost a couple of, the sides they had to put to bring it up to code. They had to put fire escapes, stairs and stuff on it. So we lost some of the operating rooms and things like that would have been there. Now the observation rooms are still there. If you remember the rooms that had the two-way window,
Yeah.
so like nurses would go in and watch it and operations would be performed on the other side. But it could be because if you were getting so many sounds all at once, usually in an operating room, and if you were in or near the observation rooms, you probably had 10 to 12 nurses sitting there watching, and then you had people doing operations, in the room. So there was probably a lot of people. Some of the best shadow figures have been captured on the fourth floor.
Okay.
So it makes sense because that's where the operating rooms were initially. Now that changed when it became a clinic, so it doesn't really feel like that right now when you walk through it. But the observation rooms are very interesting for me because when I started looking at the history of it and talking to people that used to work there or that had loved ones that worked there, not only would they let nurses go in and watch through that window, but they would let loved ones, like certain close family members, come in there. Back in the 20s and 30s, they did things a lot different that you couldn't do nowadays. But I couldn't imagine being in there with nurses or just being in there and watching my mom or my daughter or somebody being operated on. That has to be a heavy feeling because what if something bad really happened, or what if they passed away on that table, and you witnessed it all? But again, back then they did all kinds of things that you couldn't do nowadays. So I wish I could go back and talk to some of those people that witnessed that. I'd love to know what they felt. So it is kind of a heavy feeling. And it's really, funny to us because the first 2 years we were open, we always try to talk to our paranormal teams after they do their investigation. And most of the ones that were getting activity, it was either basement, first floor, or second floor. And I have to say second floor was probably the most consistent out of all of them. Third and fourth floor was so quiet the first 2 years we were open. You didn't get much at all, if anything. And then all of a sudden it was like, bam, it flipped. And the third and fourth floor started becoming active. And the second or the basement and the first floor was really quiet. So, it's just one of those things with paranormal. You just never know which floors is going to give you the most activity or which ones are going to come out and talk to you.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in when you start to have a lot of investigators come through asking a lot of questions, you're going to draw other spirits in too from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You might have some more at the nursing college, like, they're never going to put this roof on. I'm going over to the hospital to talk to these people,
Yeah.
I mean, you might have coal miners that maybe died in a coal accident. They want to hear their story out. So they're going to come to the hospital because that's where people are asking questions.
Right.
No one's going to the mine asking questions. So just in the history of Williamson itself, you're probably drawing more spirits up there. And that's fine. I mean, you're a paranormal building. So, and nothing's evil there. They just they want to be heard just like everybody else.
Yeah, I can truthfully say, because I get asked that a lot, I have never felt anything that a lot of people would say demonic or, evil. But I have had feelings of people being angry or not wanting you there. And, it's a hospital. So I can understand that. Nobody loves hospitals. I mean, you don't want to be there. So I can understand a spirit being angry and not wanting you there. Or maybe they're tired of me, being there. The heaviest feeling I tend to get is usually in the basement. And that's where my grandmother passed away. So that could be part of it too. But there are times that I know I'm not wanted down there. So like, I know I'll go maybe a couple of steps in there and then either a door will shut or I just get this really heavy feeling like, girl, it's not, go away. So I respect that. And I just turn and I go back upstairs and I wait and, go back when I feel like it's okay. But, Yeah, I think it draws, and I think they kind of feed off you to see, what you're going to do. I think they're just as curious about us as we are about them.
So, I mean, it's kind of neat that, you feel something unwanted, you leave. I mean, you're there all the time too.
Yes.
I mean, some paranormal investigators like myself, if I feel unwanted or just a heavy feeling, I'm going to go a little farther in. But I will ask, do you want me here? If you don't want me here, light this up. It lights up. I'm going to
You're
respect.
gone.
Yeah. Not that I'm scared, but you got to respect the spirits too. I mean,
Right. Right.
but I mean, it's kind of neat that because thinking about you're walking through there all the time.
Yeah,
So,
I think that one of the best example I could give, like it was Halloween, I think last year, and well, it was the month of October. I'm not sure if it was Halloween night, but if you were in the basement, so you know how it's laid out. At the end of the hallway, you've got those two X-ray rooms, and over the course of the hospital's history, those were the only two rooms that never changed, and they were always X-ray rooms. They might not have been utilized a lot, but they were X-ray rooms. So we did a thing for Halloween, and it wasn't a walk through haunted house like we're doing this year, but we did like escape floors, and we had some props set up in one of the X-ray rooms. If you were going down the hallway, it was the one to your right. So it was like midnight, and we were walking the halls, making sure none of our volunteers were playing hide and go seek and staying in there, and making sure none of the customers were, or people that walk through there hiding and stuff. And as we get to the end, and we're kind of facing that little space in between the X-ray rooms, the door of the X-ray room to your right, and you got to remember it's on carpet. It's a heavy leaded door, and it has a door stop. And as many times as I have been in there, it has never opened. It's never shut. It has always been open. So just slowly, just slow, it starts shutting, and I'm like, what? It's not a swinging door. So the first thing we thought, oh, it's one of our volunteers messing with us. So Charlie had a flashlight, and he shined it behind the door to see if anybody was behind it messing around with it. There was nobody there. So we had a really lifelike body prop in there. She looks so lifelike. A lot of people really thought she was real, but she's not. But she was laying on a gurney, and we slowly opened it again, pushed it back on the doorstop. It stayed for about a second. And as soon as Charlie stepped back to where I was, it started slowly shutting again. We did that, I'd say at least 3 times. And finally, something just clicked with me. And I was like, it started shutting, and he just looked at me. He's like, what do we do? And I said, I think they think they're in there working on her. They're trying to help this, because this prop, she looks like her story was she was killed in a motorcycle accident. So she's missing a leg. She from here up, she looks completely normal, real life like body. But the rest of her is beaten up pretty bad. And if they were doing x-rays on her, what do they usually tell you? That you can't stay in a room with somebody that's doing an x-ray. I've been with my loved ones that's had to go have x-rays. They tell you to step out and wait on them, because of the radiation. I really think and I feel that they were telling us, not in a rude way, but just, hey, we're busy working. You guys are going to have to stay out here until we're done. Oh. So I told Charlie, I said, let it go. Just let the door shut, and then we'll come back tomorrow and see if it's still shut. So we did. We left it there, left that poor prop in there, and then we came back the next day. The door was open, completely open. Still back. It went back on its stop. And again, you'd have to see this door, because it's not. There's no excuse. I can't give any reason for it, and it's a heavy door. So it'd take a good amount of force to shut that door, and it just kept shutting. So I finally just backed away, and I was like, okay, we're going to leave. You can continue working. We'll come back. And we came back the next day, and it was open. Never had that happen. As long as I had owned that building and been down there so many times, that door has always been open. I've never seen it do that.
What if that's just like residual energy? What if that will happen again the same day that you guys found it when it happened?
Yeah.
I always tell people that because they're like, oh, I see a shadow walking down my hallway or whatever. I'm like, well, write down the time, write down the day and the date, because it could be something that happens every
Yeah,
week.
we need to do better with that, because we're just, I guess we're in there so much, we're so used to it now, we don't really think about it. Because I have a lot of people ask me, why don't you go live when you're in there? I don't even think about it sometimes. But I guess I don't want to say I'm not immune to it at all, but I've gotten used to it. It doesn't scare me as much as it did in the beginning, because where I didn't know a lot about the field, and I had to lean on some other people to learn more about spirits and the paranormal field. I didn't want to mess anything up or make any of them angry, because that's the last thing I wanted to do. But like I said, as long as I've owned it, like I said, there's been times, yes, I felt like there have been angry spirits, but nothing that I felt like was demonic or, truly evil or trying to take over me or the hospital or anything like that. But I do feel that there are times that the hospital will tell you, stay away from me. I don't want you in here. But, out of respect for them, and I also thank them, because they don't have to make themselves known. They don't have to talk to anybody. But they do. And I think it's, I appreciate that as an owner and as a former person that was, my life started there. And to know that there are people, wanting to communicate with you and spirits that are wanting to talk to you. I respect that. And I feel like I have to give back to them. And I very much appreciate what they do and how they try to communicate with us. Even if it's as little as lighting up a REM pod or a tap on the wall or whatever, to me, it's something. And, sometimes I get overwhelmed and for me, I don't know how it was with you and your group, but certain floors bring certain feelings for me. Some floors are heavier than others, like we talked about a little bit earlier. But, sometimes I can go on the floor and I can just feel the overwhelming sense of how many people passed away on this floor. And knowing it's where my grandmother took her last breath, or where I took my first breath or whatever. And sometimes it's so overwhelming that I can't control my emotions. Like it totally takes over me. And for example, one time, if you get to watch the Nick Groff episode, he was interviewing me in the basement, and I've been interviewed quite a bit since we opened. So I didn't have any problems, being interviewed. And I don't even remember now what the gist of the interview was, but we were talking about the hospital. We were talking about the basement. I may have talked about my grandma. But he kept telling me that he was feeling something touching his neck. And, and it finally stopped with him. And then all of a sudden, I was standing in that doorway that leads like to where the morgue and the kitchen and all that stuff was, that entryway. I kid you not, I was standing there and he was kind of standing on the other side of me. It was like something, I don't want to say go through me, because that's not right, but it just, it's like something came over me and I could not control. I just started crying. And when I say crying, I mean like huge crocodile tears. Like I couldn't control it. It was uncontrollable sobbing. And I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take a break. And the only way I can describe it, and even to him, because Nick, I think Nick, and he only had like one camera guy with him. It was like, I felt like a lot, and don't ask me why, but I felt like a lot of children that had passed away there had just came in and just sat on my chest and was like, please help us, or please, I'm here. And I just started crying. And I bet I cried for 10 minutes. And he probably cut 15 minutes of that conversation out, because you probably couldn't understand a word I was saying. But I had never, that was the first time I ever had that really, it was so heavy, I had a hard time breathing. And I think it was just one of them wanting me to know what they felt when they were down there, or how much suffering they did. Because, the basement, when the hospital first opened, it was actually the emergency room. It was trauma. That's where the incinerator is. The basement has a lot of dark history. And I would say probably between that and the fourth floor, the basement's probably where most of the deaths probably occurred. And that's just a guess. I don't know for sure. I don't have any stats to back that up. But just knowing what was there, and it was emergency room. It was huge. And then you had the incinerator, amputation, all of that kind of stuff, surgery. I'm sure there were a lot of deaths there. So I got overwhelmed and just with this sadness that I had to take about a 10-minute break before I could get myself together. Listen, I know Nick probably thought it was the question that he asked me. I felt so stupid, because I'm 52 years old. I need to get my act together. And I've done interviews before. I've been in the basement 100 times. And for whatever reason, when he asked me whatever question it was, at that exact moment, I couldn't even talk, like literally. And, he was patient and his camera guy was patient. I couldn't stop. Non-stop crocodile tears, crying. And I just told him, I said, I'm going to have to take a minute. And I just went, the basement steps. I just went and sat down on the steps and just had to cry it out, basically. A lot of people say women are just oversensitive anyway. I get that too. But, I've been down there so many times, and I can truthfully say that was the first time that ever happened to me. It was touching. I'll never forget it. I can remember to this day exactly how I felt. I always love it when children come and visit the hospital, because I think the hospital enjoys having kids there. I do worry at times what they feel, what they see, because we do tours, and we have a lot of schools and stuff that come there. Kids are always fascinated with, of course, they have to focus on history for educational purpose, but we always like to throw in a spooky story or two in there, true stories that you can read online in the newspapers. But I could tell you, I can tell when kids have been in the hospital and a paranormal team will come in right behind them for an overnight investigation. The energy is a little bit different than if they haven't been in there. And that fascinates me, because it's almost like the hospital, the kids are just, so excited to have more kids back in there again and to talk to them or let them be seen. And, it's just, and then the paranormal group that comes in behind them gets to, see that a little bit. So it's really interesting the way different locations respond to children. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, also think about a lot of old people in hospitals. Who visits them? Grandkids. I mean, probably makes them happy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Kids with just different energy, bringing. I can't say this day and age, but back in the day, kids made people smile. I mean,
yes, they did. And back in those days, you didn't have all the social media and the internet and stuff to take their attention away. So, they would go to hospitals more and visit loved ones, or, it was just, here you could sit on your front porch and walk to your neighbors, or 10 houses down the road, and you knew somebody and you didn't feel threatened or anything, and you did more interaction. It's kind of sad in today's times, because I feel like, and even with my own daughter, I feel like that one-on-one connection is kind of slowly going away, and I hope that, families can kind of bring that back. And, but cell phones and the internet and all that is kind of taken, and there's nothing wrong with it, but you have some that don't even want to leave their homes at times because they want to stay on it, So it really makes me happy. That's why, we do allow kids up to a certain age to investigate with their parents and stuff, because, not only are they getting into the field and learning more about it and carrying on, but it's bonding time for you all. You said you and your daughter were there. I mean, that's something that you two can share, and, she could enjoy and maybe go on later in life and carry on and do as well. So it's really, now my daughter, she don't really get into it that much. She was born in October, and the child doesn't love Halloween. I don't know. I'm her mom. I don't know. And she said she's in college right now. She'll be 21 in October, so she's not little anymore. But she's like, Mom, everywhere I go, people are always asking me if you're the one that has that hospital. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. I was like, you don't have to. You don't have to. So some kids are totally different, but I love the way our hospital responds to them, because I think they love having children they bring such a different energy than some adults do. And I truly believe that whatever location you're in, they respond to however you are. And if you come in there with the negativity, or you're rude, or you're mean, or you're, disrespectful, the hospital's going to let you know that. But if you come in there and you're open-minded, and children's hearts are always, they're so pure, and they're just so loving, and, they might be mean every now and then, but, for the most part, they're just innocent kids. The hospital responds to that very, very positively. And I love that. So, it's always, I love watching, how they are. And the kids, they will probably tell you they don't like history, but when we do history tours with them, they listen, because I think they find it fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, history in school nowadays, my daughter's telling me it's non-existent.
Really?
Oh, yeah, wow. It's pretty bad. Now I always tell my kids, history repeats itself. If you don't know what happened, it's going to happen again.
Right.
And that's the way my daughter looks at it too. Me and my daughter plan on doing next summer a lot more together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just me and her. I don't know if she wants to get into social media type of stuff, like start making little videos here and there, but she enjoys it a lot. With her being in school and sports, it's hard right now. So yeah, I try to get out as much as I can. That's why we did the big trip. That's why you guys were part of our big trip.
I think that's awesome. And she will remember that. And I think that's what makes it really special.
I mean, she's 15 right now, going on 16, and later she's not going to want to hang out with yet. So I'm trying to make some memories with her right now.
That's a tough age. Teenage years are tough. Mine's getting ready to be 21, and it's so funny because she called me the other night, and my daughter plays sports too. She plays softball for college, and she had set out a year because she thought, she just needed to take some time off. She's been playing since she was like 5. Yeah. And she went back to college, and they talked her to coming back and playing. And she called me the other night, and she was like, Mom, I'm so sorry. My puppies. She called me the other night, and she said, Mom, now I understand why you take so much ibuprofen. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, I just got back from softball practice. And she said, my body don't move like it did when it was 16. So it cracked me up. I was like, welcome to adulthood, honey. It's not the same anymore.
Yeah, just wait till the 40s. It gets worse.
Oh, yeah. So I told her, I said, wait, it just keeps getting better and better.
You can make
we always, when somebody calls or messages or emails or however they contact us, I always spend time with them, because I tell them, I'm like, listen, West Virginia is blessed with a lot of paranormal locations. And I give them, because, I've seen a lot of drama with paranormal locations and people, and I don't get into that. We love everybody. We want everybody to, come and visit us. So we try to stay out of that. But, we want everybody, when you come, we share the love. We don't try to keep you, oh, don't go there. You don't want to go there. And we know people that have done that. And I don't understand that. I really don't. Because I think, there's enough room in this world for everybody, especially in the paranormal field. But again, I'm a newbie, so I'm probably still learning. But, if they're coming, and I'll get calls like this from time to time. Hey, it's mine and my wife's anniversary, and she really wants to visit all the spooky places in West Virginia. What do you recommend? Or, we're doing a family vacation, and we're hitting Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. What places do you recommend? And without hesitation, I will tell them, hey, if you're going to be in the Louisville area, you need to go to Waverly. If you're going to be in Weston, you need to see Trans-Allegheny. If you're going to be close to Williamson, you need to come and see us. And we're all within 3 to 5 hours of all these locations, Lake Shawnee, Sweet Springs when it was open, Moundsville Penitentiary, all these places that I think have so much history and rich with history, that I think they would really enjoy spending time together and going and visiting these places. So we even have places here I recommend that are not really what I would say well known, but if you're into like history or spooky stories or just, weird things, I guess. I don't know any other way to say. Our county is full of that because Mingo County, West Virginia is our nickname is Bloody Mingo. I mean, we didn't get that name for no reason. So if you want to come here and see some like weird stuff or maybe some off the wall stuff, or if you're into the paranormal or spooky, I can send you to some of the creepiest cemeteries around. The Dingus Tunnel is a place I highly recommend paranormal teams to visit. The history behind it's very sad, but it's very interesting, and I always recommend people do it. But we don't mind at all to tell people and families, and even we even get some that does like guys trips, girls trips. Hey, while you're here, just like the other day, we had somebody come. And they said, well, can you tell us what else is close by? And I said, well, if you're coming in this weekend, the Mothman Museum is just about 2 hours from us, and they're having a Mothman festival. If you don't mind being in a huge crowd, like a 40,000 people, but we send them down there because, there's so much to see. And if you're really into that, it just adds more, to your trip. So we love plugging other places.
So, I mean, do you see that? I mean, like that's a big topic right now, like para-unity in the groups. I mean, is there like a para-unity in the owners? I mean, you're always going to have some, like you said.
I don't know for sure on our end because, like I said, we try. Me and Charlie stay so busy. I really don't have time for it anyway. But I haven't really seen a whole lot as far as locations go. I know you're always going to have a few that try to, and I think Adam does this pretty well. You always have a few that try to bring you down or try to say you're, this, that, or one thing or another. But I try to respect all locations, no matter how big or small, because in the end, there's not just one place that's got paranormal activity. It's all over the world. So, why would you not help each other out and recommend that they visit? So it just makes me sad when I see the drama and some teams fighting with each other over this, that, and the things, because to me, it's just kind of silly. I think we should all get along. And as a location owner, I'm not going to take anybody's side. I want everybody to come. I want everybody to love the hospital. That's my main goal, and want to come back,
I mean, but you guys all have pretty much, I know Adam and you, Trans-Allegheny, Cindy, trying to think, the lady who owns Bel Air House. You guys all have kind of like the same goal is to keep history alive. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you do that? I mean, helping each other out. I know Adam, he makes money just like you guys do. And you guys put that money back in to keep the hospital the way it is.
Absolutely. When I first bought it, I'll be honest with you, some of our people here in the community, and I'm talking local community, it was not well received. And then when Destination Fear hit, I got a little bit of a backlash, not a huge backlash, but some, because, and I really attribute it more to just the lack of understanding the paranormal field. A lot of people, we're in the middle of the Bible Belt. A lot of people just associated paranormal with the devil. And they couldn't believe that I was going to take a hospital where their loved one died and turn it into something like that. So I would sit down with them and I would talk to them. And whether it be on the phone or face to face, there were even people talking about protesting us there at one time. So I got in touch with them and I said, let's talk about this because I want you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, they were all upset and they just felt like it was disrespectful. They had a loved one, a parent, or somebody pass away. And I get that. I do. But my response was always back to them as nice as I could be. But wouldn't it be more disrespectful if somebody came in and tore the building down or they let it rot and it just falls to pieces just because somebody wants it as a tax write-off? Don't you want to keep your loved one's memory alive? Don't you want to, keep the building of the place that somebody was born in and all that stuff. So it took me probably a good year, because here's the other aspect of it that a lot of people don't. And I'll tell you who's the best. And I don't know if you know her or not. Do you know Chris Sumner? She runs I think it's called is it Scott County Jail in Tennessee?
Yeah.
She's awesome. And she does a lot I met Chris at a convention, and she was speaking, and she does studies on how the paranormal, not only, it is a business for us as well, but how it affects towns and like the tourism, and does it give your local economy a boost and stuff. We kind of knew that it would help, never dreamed it would help as much as it has. But I went to her seminar and I listened to that, and it was the statistics on that were very fascinating. And then I started thinking about our own little town. I mean, you've been here.
Yeah.
A lot of people have left the area. We used to be a city of 25,000, and now we're down to 3. When jobs leave, people leave, and it's hard to keep things going when you don't have a lot of people there. So you have to kind of think out of the box sometimes. So when some of those people that were giving me a hard time initially at first started seeing, well, these people are coming in sometimes for a night or two, sometimes longer. They're buying gas here. They're eating here. They're visiting our local shops or historical places like the Coal House. They started seeing, a little bit of how we could help the whole community. It wasn't just about us. So some of that died down, but it was a little rough there first when we first got started. So thankfully, and I think even Adam had to deal with that to some extent on some of his locations, but we want to help everybody. I mean, if I can bring in people that's going to stay here and buy food here and gas here, that all goes back to help your area, not just us. So that's why we appreciate all of you coming in, because if you guys didn't, other than the Hatfield McCoy Feud Trail, which is like an ATV off-road riding trail, we're probably the second biggest tourist location in our county. I don't know why they don't really talk about the Hatfield McCoy Feud more, because when they come out with that movie, it was a mini series with Kevin Costner and Bill Pullman, there was a fluctuation of people that came to the area wanting to see where that took place. I said, it's all happening here, but they don't really talk about it that much. The trail's named after them, and you got Kentucky right across. I can throw a stone and hit Kentucky, right over there, but you just, they don't really, I don't know, push it as much as you do, but as I would, I would probably, bring some people in, because it helps all of it. It helps the economy. And if people are leaving, there's no jobs here, why not try something different or think outside the box?
I mean, do you think it's that, they're, I guess, comfortable with just having a small town now and don't want the people from the outside coming in?
Honestly, I don't really know. I think, a lot of us that have been here for most of our lives, and I moved away. I was away for about 10 years between college, and then I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for a while, and then I moved to California for a little while before I moved back home. I think it's hard for people that have lived here all of their life to know that it was once a booming town and a city, and so many businesses, so many restaurants, so many things to do. To now, we don't even have a movie we don't even have a movie theater for kids. We don't even really have parks. The ones that we have are not very good. So there's literally nothing for children to do here. And that hurts my heart, because the kids got to have something to do. You know, we have to drive 30 miles to the nearest movie theater if we want to go see a movie. And it's really sad. It shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately, a lot of people have left the area, and the ones that are here either don't have the time to do it, maybe might not have the financial means to do it, or just don't want to. One of the three. So I would love to see it build back. And, we love it when you guys come in to see us, because we know there's a chance you're going to, eat and support some of our local people. So, but it's a funny thing. You just never know how it's going to work. But
Yeah. I mean, you and Charlie are doing it right. I mean, keeping history alive, giving people like me the opportunity to come see that history. Again, I would have never even heard of Williamson if it wasn't for you. I would have never gone there. I might have driven through it, going somewhere else, but no, it's cool that what you guys are doing. And I think you get that like at Bel Air, Ohio, too. You got the Bel Air House, you got Rott's House there, and old coal mining town on Ohio River. And you say Bel Air, Ohio, they're thinking those two houses. That's what it is associated with now, is paranormal.
right.
So they're keeping it on the map.
Yeah.
And a lot of history in that town. Again, hopefully I get to come back sooner than later. That's my
Yes, we would love to have you, and we appreciate all of you so much. We can't thank our paranormal community enough. Without you guys, we wouldn't exist. I mean, we couldn't keep it going, because even though Charlie and I both, and he just walked in, by the way, he might pop in here in just a second. But
saw ghostly figure behind me.
Yeah, it wasn't a ghost; it was Charlie. He was behind me, but. We really appreciate our paranormal community, because even though, as much as we both love history, there's not very many people standing in line to hear about just the history of the building. 90% of the people want to know about the spooky as well. So, or the paranormal activity, but we couldn't do it without you guys. And, that's why, doing podcasts or whatever we can do to help or give back. We try our best to do that, because we know if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here, be able to do anything. So we have to thank you and all the other teams for just, allowing us, for you guys for even wanting to come to Williamson and be in the hospital. Charlie just walked in. I'll make him come over here. Ryan's over here.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah. So anybody out there that's going to watch this, yeah, if you're in West Virginia, again, like she said, there's many places to go. I think Old Hospital has to be one of those places you have to go see. I mean,
I'm going to let him pop in here too. Can you come?
Just a part of me can pop in. I'm tired. She's down here doing all the nice PR work, and I'm up there working at the Old Hospital. You see now who really does the work.
So how's the haunted house going up there?
There's the Westie that was barking the whole time.
How's it going up there? Oh, well, thank you for asking. It's going real good. I believe we're going to have a great. I believe it's going to be great. I'm sure Tonya's already told you. I don't want to cut me off if I'm talking too long. For the last 4 years or so, we did the escape floor theme, if you will. It's worked extremely well, but we thought it's time for a change, and some of our clients did too. So we're doing a little more jump scare and stuff. Little change on it, but I'm very optimistic. I think everybody's going to have a good time.
That's good. Yeah,
I know it has nothing to do with paranormal, but it's our way of kind of shaking things up a little bit and give a little bit back to the community and make the building and the property interesting. It has a lot of different purposes, and this would just be another one and another tool in the toolbox, I call it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun. I'm not really big into haunted houses. I'm a weird paranormal type of guy. I'm not big into Halloween. I'm not big into haunted houses, and I don't watch horror movies. So, yeah, so I'm a little different paranormal investigator. I'm more of a, I guess, true.
You want to get into the true stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I want to get into the true stuff. So that's me. But no, I mean, I've seen like Mansfield House down there in October. Years ago, they were setting up their paranormal, like haunted house, and it was interesting. It'd be fun to do. I mean, if I didn't live 4 hours away from you, I'd probably come down and check it out.
We'd love to have you. Well, we're going to tell them, we do have volunteers that are, they do play characters and stuff, and they are going to try to wreak havoc on them, but some of the spirits are there. You're
talking a couple things. Your town, like you said, there's not a movie theater within 30 miles.
Yeah.
The haunted house is going to be their movie theater next month. So
something to do.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons, honestly, we agreed to do it, because, Charlie and I, we were a little nervous because we didn't really want to do a haunted house, but our volunteers were begging us to do it. And the fact that our kids here really have nothing to do. And I know they, a lot of them love haunted houses as much as we did when we were kids. So we bit the bullet and told them, okay, let's give this a try, see how it goes. So we open up Saturday.
We'll see how it goes.
Get off your phone and go to haunted house.
That's it. Thank you for plugging it. Thank you for the podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Obviously, if you can't get down there for the haunted house, book out. I mean, where do they find you? Just Facebook? It's the best way to find
us up on Facebook. We're on all social media sites, TikTok, Instagram. We're either the Old Hospital on College Hill or College Hill Hospital. They can also text us or call us. It's usually me and Charlie that answer the phone. You'll get one of us. And, when we go back to November, or when we get to November, it'll go back to tours and overnight investigations. And we do them year round. We don't take a month off. There might be a couple of weeks if the weather's really, really cold.
Well, we had some extreme heat this summer that it was just too hot for people. Not for us. We just didn't want our customers collapsing.
We always, if we know that it's going to be really bad, we'll text the team ahead of time and go, hey, if y'all want to reschedule and we find another date that works better for you, it's going to be 100 degrees or minus 20. So it's been unusual weather this year, but we try to accommodate our teams because we have some that like to investigate when it's cold, and we've got some that like to investigate when it's hot.
And this is where I plug in. We have a base camp, as you know, on the second floor where we keep it air conditioned in the summer or heated in the winter. Not the whole hospital, just
that room.
Just a good sized room on the second floor, which is, I call it the middle of the building. You got 2 floors above you and 2 floors below you, and the one you're on. It gives you a place to, I call regroup and go at it again, but warm up or cool off, whichever the case may be.
So how far do you guys book out? I mean, I know places are different. I mean, do you guys have like all next year's calendar up, or?
Well, we don't have an online calendar, so we do it pretty much all ourselves. But we will start taking bookings for 2026 in November of this year. So in just a matter of a little over a month, we'll open up the doors for people to reserve. And unless we have an event or something planned on a specific day, we do paranormal. We do overnight investigations 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. We love our paranormal groups. We want to work with them. We want them to keep coming back, and we want new ones to come and discover the hospital as well. So start in November, if they want to call us or contact us through social media, we'll get them booked and tell them, how we do it. We're very easy to work with. Very proud to say we haven't upped our rates since we started. We don't want to. We know how hard it is for everybody right now. So
it's hard for us.
Yeah, unless we just have to down the road. But Charlie and I really want to make it affordable for paranormal teams to be able to come. We even set up monthly plans if you have to. Just the initial thing that's only required up front is just the deposit to secure your date. That's the only thing we ask up front, and then we work with you from there on.
We're very liberal on the hours too. You could, once you book your date, whatever date that is, weekday or weekend, you can come as early as 4 or 5 in the evening, and we'll let you go ahead and set up, and then it's yours until 8:30 the next morning. Yeah,
we want you. When we talked about this and
a lot of hours,
we wanted, like when I was telling you about my experience at 8:00 in the morning, we wanted you to have enough hours in the hospital to where you feel like, okay, I've been here in the evening, I've been here in the afternoon, and now morning. So because in the paranormal, it may be silent until about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Or it could be silent all night and then start going at it at 5 a.m. So we wanted you to be able to get enough time. And then some of our paranormal teams, bless their hearts, they look like CSI crews coming in. They have so much equipment. It takes them at least an hour or so to set it all up. So I don't want them to feel rushed when they're in there. And we don't rent it to anybody else. So you get the whole hospital just for you all. And I want you all to have that one-on-one time with the hospital, so you have time to set up your equipment or to change it or to meet with your group and go through it and, those kind of things. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple groups in, especially if you got a huge place like Trans-Allegheny or Waverly. You could put, 4 or 5 groups in there. You probably never see each other. But our hospital is not as big. So we try to keep it just to one team and let you guys have it. And it can be one person or it can be 20 people. We don't mind. But we try to make it affordable for the teams, even with our lodging. If they decide to take one of the houses along with it, it's honestly better than getting a hotel, because in a hotel you're shoved in one room with everything right there. At least these, you got a house and you're not right on top of each other. You
can go and come as you need to.
Yeah, and you can go and come, and then it's literally right out the back door of the hospital. So you don't have
it's adjacent properties. It's not like you're off site.
Yeah, you don't have to get in a car and drive.
No, you don't drive. You just walk.
We want you guys to feel comfortable and stay with us, and we let the teams investigate the houses for free right now. We don't charge extra for that.
Although they're starting a lot.
It's starting. Yeah, I was going to say, if it starts picking up a lot more, like I said, Paranormal Quest just did one on Dr. Conley's house and put it on YouTube, and it's interesting. And that cottage is really interesting too. The cottage is.
We knew the cottage had a little bit going on.
Yeah, they had warned us about the cottage.
That's why we bought it. We were
beforehand.
We were interested in that.
Yeah, one of my friends that used to live there, she kind of gave me a heads up and said, "Hey, if you ever get the opportunity to buy that house over there, make sure you buy it." And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "I'll tell you later." And we never really thought we were going to get it. We wasn't looking to buy anymore. And then that guy came to us and said, "Here, I don't want this anymore. Do y'all want it?" And we were like, "Oh, okay." So we bit the bullet and we took it. And that's when she came back and told us about some of the paranormal activity that happened when she was there and when she lived there. And she's a lawyer. She's very straight-laced, very. And then she said, she said, "I could see things happening in the hospital when I lived there." She said, "But the house is," and even the only neighbor that lives, I don't know if you met him when you were here, the only neighbor that lives on the hill right behind the hospital is Emil. And he will tell you, he used to live in that little house. And he says before he moved over to the house that he's in now, he tells the teams, he said, "You need to investigate that house because it's haunted as well." So it's pretty neat to hear the stories of people that lived in there, So we don't charge extra for that. So while you're sleeping, we can't help it if a spirit wants to come in there and say hi to you. But it's pretty cool. But we let teams know that, so that way if you want to set up equipment or something while you're in the hospital, you can.
And they do. Many of them do.
Yeah.
They've captured some interesting things.
All my Southern Ohio, Southern Pennsylvania groups out there, if you haven't been to Old Hospital, get to Old Hospital. I mean, you're not going to be disappointed. It's cool. Like, I didn't have a huge amount of activity there, but I had enough that I want to go back. As owners, that's what you want. You want me to keep coming back to get more. So
Absolutely.
But
else, just to enjoy your company and have you guys come back. We love it when you visit.
I'll have Charlie give you a tour. I didn't get to take the tour. I didn't want to, but I heard it was great.
Yes, he's really good.
My teammates talked about for like 2 days. Charlie. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jay, well, they didn't tip me.
Well, I didn't take the tour. I didn't have to tip you. So. That's on them.
No. Well, I'll send them a bill. I didn't know I was that good. I'll send them an invoice. I'm tickled. That I'm very honored and pleased that they had a great time. That's what I want them to do.
Very hospitality. Like, you guys didn't have any shirts set up, but you brought a box of shirts, and you're like, "I know what's in here, but if you want to buy some shirts, buy some shirts." And I think,
yeah, we're working on the gift shop. It's a thing in progress. It shouldn't be so hard, but we've had a leak in the roof area there where the gift shop is supposed to be. Everybody's been so patient and understanding, but believe me, we miss the gift shop too, because that money helps us work on the nurses' college next door, and I'm sure you all have already talked about that.
Yeah,
that's our next big move, is to get that open for you guys.
Yeah, I've been keeping track, and I know you guys haven't started yet because you have other stuff going on. I'm like, as soon as that opens up, I'm coming down. Like, that building just intrigued me when I saw it. Like, I had to get in there.
You're going to have a good time there, and many are saying the same thing. I think it's going to look like an unemployment line. Every one of you guys are going to be out there. You're going to get a photo. Everybody's going to have their equipment. All you paranormals are together in these long line for about a half a block waiting to get in there. It's really a big building. It doesn't look that large, but it's almost 5,000 square feet per floor, and it's six floors plus. It's really almost 7. But I tell people a little bit about it because I've dared to go into it. Down in the laundry room, you wouldn't think much about it, but it's kind of looking like excuse me, I didn't say that right. It's like watching an old movie, apocalyptic, where you had people at workstations and now they're all gone and it's dust and it's just like they left it, almost like there was a cup of coffee nearby and here's the, well, one of the floors is this huge laundry room and it has those large, and I know you've seen them, the iron, I call them presses. I guess that's what they call them. They're like 5 feet long presses. You can put a person, you can press a guy into one of them. And when you see that, and I know it seems funny to talk about it, but the drying machines and the washing machines, the big ones, they're industrial. These aren't like you go buy for your household. And it's just like they walked away.
It's like taking a step back in time.
Yeah, and there's like a generator in there. It's about the size of a Mack truck. And, you just don't see those things. And I get into buildings, so forgive me, I'm in real estate. A lot of these old buildings, and I know you know what terracotta pipe is, and usually terracotta pipe is used for drainage. Yeah. They put a terracotta round pipe inside the chimney flue that I know is like 3 feet in diameter. And when you think they built this stuff back in the period that they did it without the benefits of everything from a cordless drill to the hydraulics that we take advantage of today, it's such amazing thing to think about. And it's still standing. This nurses college is still square and plumb. It was their fault, and I'm not trying to blame, but they just let the roof go. And in real estate, we call it deferred maintenance. And it was the worst case of deferred maintenance you ever seen. But despite that negligence, if you will, or that oversight, or whatever you want to call it, the building has weathered it and stayed true to itself. And I think the building almost speaks to me every day I walk by. They're like, hey, let's get this roof done and let me have another 100 years. I mean, it's a beautiful building too. I'm proud of it for our town to have it. I'm sure I'm probably coming in being redundant.
No.
There's only, the state built 13 of those back in the early 30s for nurses to go to school for the vocation of nursing. Williamson was one of them. And they cranked out nurses there, not just for that hospital, but for the whole region. They started in the 30s. They recruited the young girls, and I'm not being sexist, but that's where they went to get the seniors of the local high schools. If you had good grades or good marks, you were asked. And if that's the vocation you wanted, you went right there. The dorm was up on the top floor that's where their rooms were, the dormitory. That's why the street was renamed College Hill. The classes were in the next 2 floors down. And then, as I said, the rest of the floors down were maintenance and they multi-purpose, I'm sure, but they used them for a lot of things. But they were there, opened up into the early 50s after World War II, and they shut them down because by that time universities and colleges took over the job of teaching nursing. And we have, to our knowledge, we've checked, but we're going to double check. We have the only one still standing out of those 13 that they originally built back in the 30s. So we're proud of that little thing too. And we feel it's our duty to make sure it goes another 100 years if we can. Well, it's been there 80 years, so hopefully
another 100, hopefully another 80. No, but again, like, I can't wait for it. And we talked about before, history.
Yeah.
Thinking about old buildings, your history, you got paranormal, and you got the architecture part of it. So just because you're not in the paranormal, there's still history there. You can go check it out for the history.
I think they go hand in hand, Ron. I mean, you can't really talk about something paranormal because it ties back to some historical event, like our Mose Blackburn, the event in 1962. When you start talking, that's history. Sadly, a police officer shot in the line of duty. Today it's too common, but back then that was horrific and national news. It doesn't take much to research that one because they gave the town, I'm sure, a black eye.
It made it to the New York Times.
Yeah.
In
so
1962.
if you want to read about the Mose Blackburn case, just pick up a newspaper. Anything that was on the AP UPI wire system, they covered it. It was big news. And here, a little town tucked away in Appalachia became a news story. Sadly, not a favorable one or one you're proud of, but nevertheless, it was a news story.
Yeah.
But you got to have them both, and that's why it's fun. I enjoy this so much. I think that's why maybe people like me doing it because if you do things you enjoy, you do them well. And I hope I'm doing them well. But I enjoy sharing the story, and I see them delighted by the story. They find it interesting, and I feed on that too. But I do know, back to paranormal, there's been a lot of good captures from the outside looking at that old nurses' college building.
A lot of good apparitions.
Yeah, so it's primed and ready for you, Ron. So
she's waiting.
Get your equipment ready. We're going to hopefully.
I'm waiting.
No, don't.
Tonya, you guys are doing it right. You're doing it. I mean, you're doing it for yourselves, but you're doing it for the community. Just not Williamson, but the paranormal community, the history community. You're keeping stuff alive. As a paranormal investigator, that's what I love about the owners. I mean, I think 80% of the owners out there are doing it for the right reason. Without you guys, there wouldn't be us. I'd be in my woods with a little recorder running around trying to find Sasquatch or something. I don't know, but you guys keep the history alive for us to be able to go do this. And again, like Charlie, it's your passion that drives it, and you can tell that when we talk to you. I mean, even if 5-10 minutes you've been on, you can tell the passion. Tonya has the passion from the heart of when you guys bought this place. I mean, it's a great story. I can't plug you guys enough. Go down there, see it. I'll be back down there probably before the nursing is done. I'll be before that. But
thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Then I'll have to go back again when the nursing college is done. So.
Oh yeah.
It is a goal within the next year to at least put a roof on it if we can.
The building floors are safe. Structurally speaking, it's really safe. It's just without the roof, and there's a lot to clean up. But it's going to be great. It's really going to be great. I can't wait.
So we have a donate button on our website. If anybody feels free to donate, we put everything back into it. It's tough when you have one building, but then when you try to focus on another, it's hard.
Yeah.
But
you guys own a paranormal hospital. You guys aren't millionaires from it. I mean, that's what everybody thinks. Just joking.
I wish we were, but
that was the plan. I was told in 6 months we'd be, moving to the Caribbean and doing something there, but no, I haven't seen that yet. It was.
Yeah, everybody always thinks that. Oh, you own a paranormal house. You must. No, there's so much work that goes into it. Overhead, maintenance.
Well, just add 2 houses to it where you got housekeeping and maintenance and taxes and insurance and changing light bulbs and beds and garbage. it's more work, but we love it. We love it. Yes.
But you truly have to run it like a business, and I think some people don't understand the behind the scenes of fighting to get your taxes lowered. I'm sure Adam probably could tell you all about that. But, and like we were talking earlier, just having the community accept you and just the stuff that goes behind. And, when you've got a 97-year-old building, the roof is falling apart. We need to fix some of it. Some things that we need to do.
We're doing them.
It takes time, and it's going to, and we got the nurses college. We love it. But, putting a roof on that thing ain't going to be cheap. So,
No, it's going to be a huge project.
It'll be, yeah. But we'll get there one day. And thanks to people like you and your team.
That's what I was going to say.
That's why we do
it. As long as you guys keep coming and plugging
us,
we'll keep going as long as we got breath in us, because I wanted to add something to it. Again, I'm not sure how long a window of time you got here, and I apologize for my appearance.
We're about 30 minutes over. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Happens when I show
I talk.
I was going to say it's probably 3 hours over Tonya talking. I want to say this, and I hope your listeners appreciate it. Tonya and I talk about it all the time. Like yourself and others that's in the paranormal community, you investigators per se, or strictly you guys are wonderful people. I have to confess, 5 years ago, I didn't even know there was a paranormal community. I mean, I wasn't totally in the dark, but I didn't know it was an industry like it was. I just never had the opportunity. And I always try to be open-minded, and I won't tell my whole story about this, but I wasn't sure how to go. And, I've been in real estate for a long time, and I thought, so we're turning people loose in a building to do what they do, which I was okay with what they did, but I was worried about, how you get, as you get older, you go, well, what if they start stealing stuff or doing things or vandalizing it? You don't know these people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to mischaracterize them, but it was just a legit, after all we'd seen, And truthfully too, between our ownership and the prior ownership, there was a gap there. The building was broke into, and that copper thieves did. If there's anything I could prevent, I wish it was the copper theft. That does the most damage, where people just ruin a structure, pulling out the wires for the copper and all that stuff. But not knowing that, and I knew the people that would come aren't there for the copper. You guys wouldn't pay to do. It just doesn't make sense. But I guess I want to say in a very, I want to drag it out too much here, but I am just so impressed and so appreciative. And I know there's a side to it that it's bad to remove something from a haunted place. You don't want to do that. I know there's that factor, that variable. But even with that, it's just so nice that people care so much. We identify with it. And I know you, like you just said, you appreciate what the owners do, but to just have, and I say this, total strangers from everywhere to come there and to respect the property, offer to come back and volunteer to help us on doing things, or call us and say, Charlie, I think there was somebody suspicious walking around. I mean, I'm worried, not for themselves, but for our property and things like that. We feel like we're not in it alone. I'll tell you, that's what keeps us going, is that we know that the next team that comes cares as much about as the team that just left. And that's why we bought the houses, because it wasn't for additional revenue stream, because when you run the numbers, it is what it is. But we cared for the safety of the teams. I mean, we don't throw you out at 2 or 3 in the morning, but we know sometimes a team will get tired and they're ready to go. They're 8 hours away from home, because we've had people here from 48, 49 of our states in 8 countries. We wanted them to, I'm sorry, we're probably not the best hospitality people, but if we could put a mint on the pillow, we'd do it, if we had the mints and the time. But we want it to be a great experience, but we also want to show that appreciation back that they're giving us by respecting the property so much. I mean, this is our 5th year.
Yeah.
And I've never had to go in and say, oh, look here, they broke this, or look here, they trashed this, or nothing. I mean, Emma, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a rare, think about that. And you guys out there and the paranormal investigators that's been with us, and those that you haven't come yet, I'm sure you're like-minded. That really just speaks volumes of your character, your respect, your professionalism. I mean, I could go on and on. So kudos to you guys for that, because that someone wrote, there was no business plan for this stuff. No. We owners, and I'll speak for them, and I don't even know they want me to. There's no book on going how to run a paranormal place, because there's some of them so different, and there's no classes I know of being taught on it out there. But to have that kind of universal 100%, just it's like it's written and unwritten code. This is the way it's done. That just speaks so much for the whole, I'll call it the industry, for lack of a better word. So there you go. Kudos to you and yours.
It's like you guys become family, and that's what we love.
Yeah, I got some of these guys I feel like I've known all my life.
Yeah,
really
we love it when they keep coming back, and
reminisce.
Sometimes we go out to dinner with them. We love hanging with them. I mean, we couldn't, like I said before, we couldn't do it without you guys. So it means the world to us. So hats off to you all.
Yeah, yep. I mean, it's a big circle. I mean, without you, it wouldn't be us. Without us, it wouldn't be you. So I mean, honestly, I know this is a hard word in this day and age. Respect each other. Everything will work out.
Yeah, you said a lot there in that one sentence. If we all had more of that in this world, it would be a much more civil and better world, a lot brighter and friendlier.
Yeah, and the paranormal world, 90% is respecting each other's opinions and respecting each other's evidence. And again, it goes all the way down to the owners, or up to the owners. I'll put you a higher pedestal than us, but no, because without you guys, it wouldn't be us. So I mean, that's the way I look at it. You can disagree, Charlie, but whatever. We can argue that the whole time.
Well, I'm just saying, if you guys weren't out there to come, we wouldn't have been able to keep it going. Yeah. I mean, our goal really was, if I can say that, Tonya says it all the time, to save a little bit of history of our town. And you're providing the economic means to it. We may have the vision and the desire and the hope, but, we all have to accept the reality. It takes money to make things happen. And you guys are the source for it. And you've already had that built into it. And we just feel like we're just stepping on the train with you guys to ride it to wherever it takes us. We're just proud to be part of it in our small way.
Well, everybody out in the paranormal world appreciates you guys. You appreciate us. Again, plug you guys, check them out, get down there. Not that far, a couple of switchbacks, and you're there. So, I mean, not too hard to get down there. West Virginia, just a great state, called God's country. That's what I call it. So, once you hit West Virginia border, you feel better. Feels like fresh air down there more. But
it's a beautiful state.
It is a beautiful state. So get down there. If you get down there, starting Saturday, haunted house. I mean, check it out. If you're into that, let Freddie chase you off. Again, thank you. Thank all your volunteers that help you, because I know there's a lot of volunteers and all this stuff that happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Again, about hour 50 minutes into this, so
sorry.
We need to let you go, don't we?
yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble here, but it's fine. Again, in the future, you guys have other big plans coming up next year. Send me a text, whatever. Come on, I'll get away, talk. If something else cool's happen, you get the nursing college open. I expect a little private text before you open that. I can schedule myself before everybody else.
Well, thank you for having us on, and I'm glad we finally got to get the schedule together.
Yeah, we got together finally after a couple tries. But again, always a pleasure talking to you, Charlie and Tonya. And, we'll see you soon.
Fair pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on.
Take care. Be good, Ron. Bye.
You too.